Hi, welcome to our channel. See the summarize. Our movie starts and we see a single camera bringing a woman and a young girl sitting in a strange place, and they start eating together, and the woman continues to talk to the girl, and then she does everything she can to get her out of this place, and suddenly the girl gets up and attacks the woman and keeps hitting her, and then we go to another scene. I hope we understand what is wrong with her and why we know that she works in the risk management department of a hereditary company and loves her job very much and cares about it and every detail of it and spends all her time at work, and we see her going on a business trip and prefers to walk in a deserted and remote place for a long time until she reaches the palace that she is going and asks the guard to open the gate for her so that she can enter, and as soon as she arrives at the palace door, she finds Mr. Ted, the project manager, waiting for her to help her. He takes her bags from her and goes to someone opposite her and explains to her that he did work for her, meaning in the matter all the food that she asked for, and she asks him to do it. He informs everyone present that she wants to meet with them as soon as possible and quickly, and then a phone comes to her from her manager, and they swallow. K is well prepared and takes care of everything she does, and that this mission is necessary for her to save it. After she closes with him, she hears someone's voice in the room and finds out that my mother is the psychiatrist for the project. He is on her bed and speaks to her boldly, telling her that she is available at any time if she needs anything, and when she waits for him, she will talk to her, and she will walk and leave, and then she will repeatedly go down and explore the place and meet the chef of the project, Scab, and he will be standing and making food, and he will get to know each other, and he will come in and reach out to them, and he will tell her that now she can get to know me, Katie. And we know that this Katie is the woman who was present in the first scene in the movie, and when you go to see her, you find that she is sleeping in bed, tired, and her eyes are tired and covered, and Dr. Catherine asks her that she should rest and not move at all, but Katie does not hear the words and asks everyone who is present. They leave the room and leave her alone with Lee, and she tells them that she wants to talk to her for a short time and she won't need much time, and why she agrees and asks them to go out, and Catherine prefers to tell her that what happened is her fault, and that Morgan is not at fault, and that she was the one who provoked her, so she tried. She beats her and she loses control and tells her that if she sat with her, she would feel that she is a normal person and that she is exactly like her. And why is she not convinced by what she says, and asks her to rest and not think about anything? And then why does she go to meet Dr. Simon, who is the genetic engineer for a project, and he asks her to sit with him so that he can explain? He tells her about their project, and he tells her about Morgan's composition and the nature of her actions, and we know from their words that Morgan is a new project that they are working on, and that she is the third generation of the project, and that the first and second generations died due to many complications that happened to them, and they did not know that they were developing them, and he explains to her that this means that Morgan is a very advanced version, and that she is growing very quickly, and in a short time she was able to walk and talk well, and all of this happened within a month. And when she asks him what was the reason for the last incident, he tells her that Morgan became very aggressive because they stopped taking her out of her room, and that she suddenly attacked Catherine without any reason, and she asks, why does she meet Morgan and stay with her, and they go to the place where Morgan is sitting, and why does she get so close to Morgan? And there is a barrier between them, and why do you prefer to talk to her about what happened and tell her that violence is not acceptable and that she must control her nerves and that it is not okay to hurt anyone, and that she walks and leaves at night? We see them all gathered together at dinner, and they all get to know Lee and continue to talk about their personal lives. Then Dr. Lowe arrives and welcomes them all, and she gets tired after that talking to them about the initial samples that were taken, and that they were very unsuccessful and unnecessary, and Simon responds to her and tells her that the new sample was completely different from them, and that it was a complete failure. She is very sophisticated about them, and then dinner ends, and she gets up to go to her room, but she changes her mind and refuses to go to the camera's room, and she prefers to watch many scenes of Morgan in order to get to know her better, and then she feels that she does not want to sleep, and she goes down to sit downstairs and finds Sakib sitting alone and drinking, and she prefers to talk to him and find out from him he is the only one who does not like the project and is not convinced by it. He is trying to get close to Lee, but she is not satisfied and stays away from him. This means that she goes to her room, and then we see Amy going to Morgan, and she continues to talk to her and advises and encourages her. She deals calmly with everything and remains normal. Because they will give them an evaluation and you must pass it, and they get close to each other with their hands like this, and suddenly a memory between them appears, and we see that the two of them are in the forest, and Bella finds a deer thrown on the ground, helpless and emerging into the spirit, and Morgan repeats that she is killing it and saving it from its suffering. And the second day of the morning, the person in charge of the evaluation arrives now, and she is pestering because he goes to Morgan and continues to talk in a bad way about her, telling them that she is just a god and there is nothing wrong with her, and Simon remains very annoyed and tells you that she is not smart and that she feels like them and why she is asking him to hold her behind the barrier, but he refuses and tells them that in this way she will fail the evaluation before he starts, and then they think that they let him in like this, and he sits with her and she starts sitting and remains calm at first, and Morgan responds to his questions in a good way and controls herself well, and with time the mother continues to pressure her with questions, and then the mother brings up the subject of the deer and tells her that she killed it because she has no feelings like them, and he belittles her. She is upset about her victory, that no matter what she does, she will remain a god, and that this is impossible to change, no matter what happens, and she imagines that his words are bad for her, and she is crying like this and getting tired of him, and she is losing control, and she is biting him, and she keeps biting him like that with her sharp teeth until she makes him bleed, and all those present start interfering, and he moves away from her, and the guards also enter Darren's house, and he tries to approach her with a gun. He is sedated to control her, but Morgan is able to escape from him quickly, and she runs and leaves the whole place, and no one can catch her anymore, and it will be okay, uncle. She will come out of the gate and come like this from behind her and hit her like this with a bullet in her back to prevent her from escaping. She loses consciousness while she is in Amy's hands, and after a while she excels. She finds herself sleeping and tucked away in a laboratory, and the whole group stays around her, and she remains very afraid of them. She sees Darren and Brenda preparing themselves, and she senses and understands that they will do something to her. The whole group prefers to talk about what happened and why she brings them this decision that the company has decided, and she tells them that it will soon be over. Supplies will come from the company and they will close the whole project, and they get rid of Morgan. And Simon remains very upset about this decision and tries to defend Morgan. He tells them that she is not just a project, that she is a normal human being, and that the whole matter, gentlemen, is that she needs to be beaten it more, that she has control over herself and her actions, and that if they eliminate her, his entire career will end, and not he will be able to work again after what happened, and his psyche will be destroyed if something happens to Morgan. And she does this to me, and she responds to him and tells him that he must admit to their failure and that nothing is worse than that, as there is no benefit from it, and she asks him to go and rest at home, and then we see that Brenda is growing green and flexible, preferably. She pretends to leave it and does not do anything about it. She keeps voting and tells her that she does not want to die. They go to bed and go to sleep, and then she returns home and tries to talk to Simon and cherish him, but he remains upset and does not like to talk, and closes the door of his room in her face. We see Darren giving him orders to he yearns for Morgan with a substance that kills her and gets rid of her, which means he still refuses to do that and leaves the room with Brenda and Baker, saying that he is not following orders. And at that time, why does she still want to accomplish the mission in any way? She thinks that she is injecting Morgan and is getting close to doing that, and he tries to prevent her and tells her that it is not allowed. Why is she the one who does this, but why does she remain determined and fake like this, and gets beaten up in order to pass, then falls to the ground and raises a gun on him and is still going to kill him? Amy comes behind her and gets hit like this with a sedative injection, and after a while, why does she excel and finds herself in Morgan's room and hears Ted's voice speaking from behind the barrier. And why does she ask? He tells her that he will open up to her and leave her, and that he will be punished for what he does to her, but he refuses and tells her that she will stay here and that they must take a chance to present their project, meaning in a nice way, for the company so that she is convinced of him and she prefers to tell him that the company's representatives can arrive at any time and arrest them. They are all because of what they did to him, and Ted is not affected by her words and remains determined on his decision. At this time, we see Brenda, Amy, and Darren gathering all their equipment and everything they need to escape and going to take Morgan, but she remains upset and angry with them and thinks that they will kill him, and he attacks them and kills two of them and goes to. She went to her room and found why she was there and told her that all these people were not her friends and did not love her and that they tried to kill her and that Yami was the only one among them who truly loved her and feared for her and left her locked in the room and walked away, and then Amy and Morgan went out to escape and they died. While they were out, the representatives of the company were worried about them and Morgan. She is afraid of them and runs and leaves Amy and enters the place again, and Amy keeps calling her and telling her not to go inside, but she does not hear the words, and Amy tries to stop Brenda so that she can talk to her. They enter and Morgan saves him, and Morgan comes behind them and hits Brenda on the head and dies and asks Amy to get into the car and wait for him until she comes, and then we see Catherine, and she repeats this, that she kills her too and gets rid of her and goes out to go to Louie's room to say goodbye because she considered her mother, and when she comes in, she hears Louie filming a video like this, and in it she talks about Morgan's failure, and Morgan becomes very upset with her words, and she kills too. And then why is she able to run away? She leaves the room and comes out of the window on the roof of the room and meets the cook, and he keeps telling her that Morgan is killing all of his workers and that he doesn't know how to react. She keeps repeating why. She goes in and gets her gun and finds Simon committed suicide because of what happened to him. She looks around the house and finds a million corpses for the whole group, and suddenly Morgan attacks. She tries to kill her, and the two of them keep hitting each other, and Lip reacts because Morgan remains much stronger than her, and after a short time, they both fall out of the window and land on the ground. At the same time, when she tries to stand on her feet, Morgan gets on the carriage's knee with Amy, and she takes it and walks quickly from the place, and no one can stop them. Why is she running so fast and getting into the car and trying to reach it and being able to get it? But Morgan is knocking over the car. Why is he so rigid and letting it go off the road and falling into a big tree? She is getting lost and trying to pack the car and find someone to help her, and the cook will arrive quickly because he keeps walking behind them and takes her and gets into the car and tells her that he knows they are going where, because there is a place where Amy always used to bring Morgan out, and they will definitely stay there. And when he reaches the place, they find the car parked there like this on the side, and she takes this gun and goes early to kill it and keeps looking for it in the forest and shooting fire in the air, and Morgan and Amy remain standing in front of the lake in peace. As soon as they hear the sound of fire hitting, you know that Leia was behind them and went to get rid of her. And you find her, and they keep hitting each other like this, the two of them, and Morgan, of course, because he is much stronger than her. She is able to get rid of her, and she weighs between this huge tree, and she remembers that she is not dead yet, and she walks and leaves and comes back to Amy and keeps looking at her with sadness. She tells her that she doesn't have to be afraid of her because she loves her and has never hurt her, and at this moment, why does she come after her and hit her? And she falls into the lake and tries to kill her, and in the end, Margin suffocates and dies, and his body remains in the sea, floating on water surface. And why does she take the gun and kill Amy? Because she is a traitor, and her body lies there, also next to Morgan's body. She walks and returns to the car, and when the cook asks her what happened, she approaches him and kills him too. And then we see the managers in the company talking to each other about the project that failed and that they are losing a lot, and then the CEO is surprised and tells him that the first model succeeded very well, and that he is very advanced and he behaves like a normal human being, and there is no difference between them at all. And we know at that time that they are talking about why she is the first model of the project, and they say at that time that they do not need the new project for anything, okay? Because why she is not missing anything, and at the end of the story, we will see why she is sitting alone in a restaurant to have dinner. She continues to say all of Morgan's moves that I learned from her, and the movie ends like this. But gentlemen, I will see you in the next great episode.